So many people who love the great outdoors and the nomad lifestyle will usually choose something like a van or a bus for their adventures, but not me. I want to go places where a van or a bus can't go. In 2021, I bought a brand new Jeep Renegade with the intent from the beginning of converting it into a small home away from home on wheels. It's trail rated and four-wheel drive, and over the last 4 years, I've found that it lives up to the Jeep reputation. So this video is not a how-to, but rather it's just a synopsis of what I did to make it mine. I started by completely removing the back seats and went through several different builds before I went with the one in this video. I used a sheet of foam poster board to cut out the contours to make a template for the deck. I could have used the space where a spare tire would normally go for storage or batteries, but I wanted to keep that space open for, well, a spare tire. Going where I'm going, I think I'll need it sooner rather than later. I really took my time cutting this out because I used higher quality sanded plywood for this build, and that lumber is expensive. Measure twice, cut once. After getting the template just right, I traced it out onto plywood and used a jigsaw to cut it out. I was nervous that I'd measured wrong and messed up the sheet, but it fit perfectly. Next, I used 1x2 inch lumber to build the living area support frame. I cut each stud 12 inches long, and then the load-bearing beams to 48 inches long for the front and 38 inches for the back. I guess I should have spent a little more money on better quality lumber for the frame because, despite my best efforts to keep everything straight, the warped wood had other ideas. Once the deck and frame were done, I cut out the new templates for the living area. I made the floor of the living area in 3 separate pieces and initially put hinges on them so that they could be easily lifted to access the storage underneath. After taking it out for a week, I think the hinges under the main area hindered more than they helped, so I'm going to remove them. I cut the head area of the floor as a separate piece and put hinges on that as well. The intent here is that if I need to move the driver or passenger seats back for any reason, I can just fold down the front of the living area to allow them to move all the way back. I'm short, so I don't need the driver's seat to be too far from the steering wheel. So having this design like this gives me more of a living area, and if someone with longer legs needs a ride with me, I can still accommodate. Going cheap has bit me again here. I put the supports for the head area on hinges as well, but I used cheap hinges that were way too flimsy and they've already bent. So much for trying to keep them square. I'm going to use the unneeded hinges from the main area to replace them in the future. I drilled holes in the bottom of the head supports and then drilled a hole in the headboard and ran bungee cord from the supports up through the hole so that I could easily collapse them together from the top. Once the floor was built, I covered it with a carpet remnant that I picked up from a hardware store for around $15. I used adhesive carpet spray to hold it down, but I'm going to have to staple it around the edges to make it look nice. Next up was installing the solar system. The solar kit was a Christmas gift from my fiance. I used steel conduit channel and U-bolts affixed to the luggage rails as a mount for the 4 25-watt panels. It is a 100-watt kit sold at Harbor Freight and cost around $170. And the 2 batteries were around $80 each, of which I now have 2 for a total of 3,800 watt hours. For now, this is enough to keep my 2 laptops and phones charged, and also power 2 LED lights at night. In the future, I want to add a small refrigerator which will require more power, so I'll have to upgrade the panels and the batteries as well, but for now, it works perfectly. But why? Why do all this? Well, for a few reasons. Number one, I love being out in nature. And the noises of the city life with all its loud cars and loud motorcycles and loud stereos. It's just, it grates on my nerves. So I am not neurotypical, and the noise of the city just really makes it hard for me to focus on my studies and on my job. So being alone with myself without all these distractions helps me focus, and it also helps me find healing. So I'm no different than probably a lot of you watching this video who have suffered some trauma in their lives. And I find that being in nature lets me not only think about those traumas, but deal with them in my own time and in my own way. This has been a lifelong dream of mine to travel and just really see this beautiful country. I'm also on another journey, and it's one that I probably won't talk much about on this channel because it's just one part of me and it's not what this channel is about. So I am transgender, and I've been transitioning for about 9 years. And I am finally in a position where I'm real close to getting my gender confirmation surgery. Transition is expensive, and even though I have a great job that pays fairly well, there are some things that insurance doesn't cover. Now, I'm not going to beg in every video for subscribers and likes, because personally I find when content creators do that, it's pretty off-putting, to me anyway. I hope that the content that I create while visiting all of these 151 U.S. continental national forests will compel you to want to support me. Now, while I'm in the forest, I'm going to document as much as I can, and I want to document places to camp and things to do and unique sites to go see. So I don't really want it to be centered on me, so I probably won't be in the camera as much as the scenery. Just because, like I said, this channel isn't necessarily about me. It is about my journey and about the places that I want to share with you. One other thing that I want to do while I'm out in the forest is if I'm in a space that just has this amazing soundscape at night, I'm going to record that soundscape. I find that those places like that sound helps me sleep, you know, like rain on a tent, or thunder in the distance, or the sound of a brook running by, or just, you know, the night sounds, the critters, the crickets, the frogs, all that helps me kind of just relax. So I'm going to record those, and periodically I will create an 8-hour long soundscape with a dark screen so that you can kind of listen to that while you fall asleep. The first one is actually going to be published next Wednesday, which will be July 31st of 2024 if you're watching this video way in the future. And I hope you'll give that a listen and just kind of relax with me. I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video out of all of the hundreds of thousands of videos you could watch on YouTube. And I really do hope, and this will be probably one of the few times that I say this, that you will support me on this journey that I call my two-spirit life.